So here's the organic section. So let's talk about this. We're comfortable on the maps. We hopefully know a little bit more about the maps and a little bit of some different ways and new ways to sell it and to come across as a consultant with that page. Don't worry, you'll be able to filter it down to under an hour and 15 minutes when you're in front of a customer just talking about the maps. You'll figure out which parts you like, which parts you don't like, which parts you're comfortable with, and you'll go from there. So how does this work? How does Google choose these 10? Go ahead, you guys. I know you guys in this room, we know probably most of the answers. What's that? Relevancy, right? Relevancy score. Relevancy, yeah. That's one way. We'll talk about exactly how they determine that as well. What else?
Age of the website.
Age of the website, sure, absolutely. That's part of it. Age and popularity, things like that. How long it's been around, how well established. Inbound, outbound links, absolutely. Helps to establish the relevancy. That's one of the fine points there as well. Keywords, right? Keywords that are in the meta tags and how much they show up in the content. What I plan on doing is giving you a brief overview of that stuff and then give you some tools, some of which you know. Who here's used SEO Centro? Right? Who here's used Website Grader? Okay, just one. All right, awesome. One, two. Raise your hand again for Website Grader. I know Bruce, Kelly. Okay, a few guys in the back. A little bit more in-depth, wouldn't you agree, right, than SEO Centro? Though SEO Centro is more than enough to make you look really good and to make our websites look really good. That's the best tool. So I'm going to talk about 2 ways to use those 2 different sites. Don't worry, I'll repeat the URL again. We're going to get in-depth into both of them, all right? So pretty much, you build a website. Michael Madden's Axemen, all right? He builds a website. He sells axes. Michael Madden's axes. He builds a website himself. Now what? He's got it built. Where does the website exist?
Cyberspace.
Well, only on his computer at first, right? It exists as files on his computer. Each page a separate file. That's how they exist. What does he do next? He has to what it? Host it, right? So he goes on GoDaddy, buys a URL, right? And then uploads all those files, attaches them to the URL, and boom, it's live. Now what? It just sits there, right? So what are some things that need to be done? Well, you can submit that URL and that website to the search engines, all right? So that's the first thing that you want to do. You don't have to. You can wait for Google and Yahoo to find it if you want, but that's going to do what? Take longer, right? Or you can go right on Google, right on Yahoo, right on MSN, on all of them, and there's submission pages, which are real simple. What's your URL? Click submit. That's it. And what does that trigger? What happens? What do the search engines do then? They just send them out, man. They're like deployed in large numbers. The spiders immediately depart Google, follow that first URL that you... I'm not letting you follow. They follow that first URL. Now you're out of luck. Okay, so the spiders are trying to figure out what the page is all about, what the theme of the page is. Once they're inside that home page and they figured out the products and services and read the meta tags and decided how much they liked the way in which you wrote the HTML code or the web designer did, what do they do then? They're on the first page, remember. Now where do they go? Yes! Follow the links, right? They say, all right, let's split up. We're going to go figure out, different spider, take a different link each. We're going to see where these links take us. And it's going to, one link will take them to the About Us page, and one to the Services page, and hopefully one to a page about just one product or service. Then another link to a page about just another product or service. And they're going to read all of the data there, right? And then they're going to report back to Google on what? On what each one of those pages talks about. Make sense? And then they're going to kind of think to themselves, well, this page, the home page speaks about all 3, and the home page leads to different pages that speak about all 3 more in depth. So that's going to increase the relevancy of the home page to all 3. Does that kind of make sense? Because remember, you get they give you points. I like to think of it as points. There's really no point system I can explain to you, but they give you bonus points if where the links go are highly relevant to the page from whence they came. Make sense? So everything should tie together beautifully, okay? So after they've done that, within your own site, within the 5 pages that you created, then they'll leave the site and follow which links? The links that go elsewhere, right? So then they're going to find all those outbound links. And when they find those outbound links, they're going to read what's on those pages. And if the link from your page about air conditioning, if there's 10 links from there that go to 10 different pages and or websites and or blogs that talk specifically about air conditioning, that's really good, right? Because then Google's going to say, well, not only do I have the information from my users from what's on your page about air conditioning, but they have access to all of this other information about air conditioning as well. So that means that my users will have no problem finding every bit of information they want, and I love that. Good for you. That's going to help me determine that you have a high ranking because you have high relevancy to the theme of that page. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they do all of that stuff, and then where do they go? Back to Daddy Google. And what does Daddy Google says? It says, all right, think about like points. You had X number of points. Here's your score. How does that compare to the scores of the other people that are on the first page right now? And if it scores higher than anybody on the first page, what happens to your website? For what, though? For that one keyword or one keyword phrase. So it's going to compare it against every different keyword variation for everything, right, inside its database, and figure out for which keywords, when typed in by a user, do the pages of your website outrank people that currently have one of the 10 spots there.